Hey everyone, and welcome to How To. Today we're going to look at how to solve a Kakuro problem. All right, this is what a Kakuro looks like. It's basically a grid made up of boxes or cells. And then there are clues that go with the cells. So this set of cells that's going up and down, the clue that goes with them is the clue right above and below them. So the clue here is 17. If you see a clue like this, that's at the start and end of two horizontal cells, then that tells you about those two cells. And what it tells you is the two numbers in these two cells have to add up to make 8. The two numbers in these two cells have to add up to make 17. Here's a set of cells, 4 cells. They've got 29 at the bottom and 29 at the top. These 4 cells have to add up to 29. So you're allowed to use the digits 1 through 9 in any clue set, no zeros, and you cannot repeat digits. So even though you and I know that 4 plus 4 makes 8, I can't write a 4 and a 4 here because that would repeat in that clue set. So the other thing about Kakuros is they have combination charts, and I'm going to show you what that looks like now. You get this long list of all these numbers, right? So they'll say something like, if the clue is 3 and you have 2 cells, the combination of numbers you use are 1 and 2. So if you think about that, what that's saying is if you need to have 2 numbers that add up to 3, the only way to do it is with 1 plus 2, because you're not allowed to use a 0, so you can't do 0 plus 3. Likewise, if the clue was 4 and you had 2 cells, the only way to do it is with 1 and 3, because you can't do 4 plus 0, because that would require a 0, and you can't do 2 plus 2, because you'd be repeating the 2. So what I do is I look at some of the problems here, and I just pick something to start with. I'm going to pick the 17. 17 and 2. I go to my combination chart and I look at all the 2 cells here. 17 and 2 cells, the only way to get there is using 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is the only combination. What we don't know of is whether it goes 8 plus 9 or 9 plus 8, but we do know that it's the 8 and the 9. Let's take a look at 8 in 2. So if we have 8 in 2 cells, I'm going to go to the 2 cells again, and then I'm going to look for the 8. Well, there's no 8. What that tells me is there are more than one way to get to 8 using 2 numbers. So that's not there. But let's find something that is there. How about 29 in 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 cells. So let's go to the 4 cell section. Let's go right here. So here's the 4 cell section. Oh, look at that, 29 and 4. 5, 7, 8. Whoops, let's move that so you can see. So 29 and 4 uses 5, 7, 8, and 9. So if I go back to the puzzle to 29 and 4, I've got 5, 7, 8, 9. 5, 7, 8, 9. 5, 7, 8, 9. 5, 7, 8, 9. I have no idea which order they go in, so I just listed them all. Okay, now I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to look up any more combinations because I'm going to see if I have any useful information. So I start by going to a small number like the 6 here. That's very useful because if I look at these numbers, I have to think, what could I add to any of them to get 6? Well, I'm not allowed to use negative numbers, so I can't use 9 plus negative 3. I can't use 8 plus negative 2. I can't use 7 plus negative 1. So the only thing that will work here is the 5. So I'm going to change this, erase everything, and make that a 5. And I know that 5 plus 1 is what makes 6. Now look at this clue. I've got 2 cells that add up to 8. I've already got the 1, so I know this has to be a 7. Now, because I've got a 5 in this clue set, I can't have any other 5s, so I'm going to get rid of all the 5s. And because I've got a 7 right here, that means there can't be a 7 anywhere else. Okay, so now I don't want to just guess. I don't want to go, oh, I think it's an 8 or I think it's a 9. Instead, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to go back to the clues, and I'm going to see, because there are only 2 cells here, if 16 and 2 shows up. Let's see, here are 2 cells. Ah, there is 16 in 2 cells. You have to use the numbers 7 and 9. So 16 and 2 uses 7 and 9. We don't know the order, but if I look here, I have to use 8 and 2. I can't use the 9 because that's bigger than 8. So I know that's a 7, which means that's a 9, because 7 plus 9 makes 16. And because that's an 8, I know 7 plus 1 makes 8. All right, another little trick you can think about, there are only 2 numbers in these 2 cells. We know the 8 and the 9 are going to be there. 8 and 9 makes 17. Plus 7 is 24. So the only thing this could possibly be is 6, because 24 plus 6 is 30. Okay, make that a little bigger, that 9. All right, now let's go back and look at our chart. Let's try 25 and 4. Let's see. Here's 4, no 25. Let's try 30 in 4. Aha, 30 and 4 does exist, and it looks like the combination is 6, 7, 8, 9. I've already used 6 and 9. That means that's a 7 or an 8. That's a 7 or an 8. But now if I look at this, only one thing's possible, because we're not allowed to use a 0. So this has to be a 7, which means this has to be an 8. And if this clue says 8 and that's already a 7, we know that's a 1. And if the vertical clue also says 8 and that's a 1, we know that's a 7. So now we have 7, 8, and 1. Well, we can't have 7 and 8 repeated, so the only number left here is a 9. That's all it can be. And now if we look up here, this was either a 9 or an 8, but we already have a 9 there. So it must be an 8. So now this had to use 5, 7, 8, or 9 initially. We've used 5, 8, and 9, so the only thing it can be is a 7. All right, we have an 8 there. That means that has to be a 9. And that leaves only one thing there, and that's an 8. And 8 plus 7 is indeed 15. That is how you solve a Kakuro.